Hello friends, this is Nishant Gautam, Associate Professor from the Department of Pharmacology, Lauren Institute of Pharmacy. Friends, after the successful discussion about 5-hydroxytryptamine in its part 1, today we will continue the remaining portion of this chapter in this part 2. So let us start to know more about the pharmacology of 5-hydroxytryptamine and their antagonists. In continuation to part 1, let us discuss more about the serotonergic receptors. Actually, the 7 families of 5-hydroxytryptamine receptors 5-HT1, 5-HT2, 5-HT3, 5-HT4, 5-HT5, 5-HT6, 5-HT7 comprising of 14 receptor subtypes have so far been recognized. However, only some of these have been functionally correlated. All the 5-hydroxytryptamine receptors are G protein coupled receptors, which functions either through decreasing, they are the 5-HT1 and the 5-HT5, or increasing, they are the 5-HT4, 5-HT6 and the 5-HT7, the CMP production, or by generating the inositol triphosphate diacylglycerol, that is the 5-HT2 receptor, as the secondary messengers, except the 5-HT3 receptor, which is a ligand-gated cation sodium potassium channel, which on activation elicits the faster depolarization. To understand more about these receptors, let us focus on this table by which we can systematically understand more about these receptors with respect to their family, potential, and the type of coupler proteins and the mechanism. The first family is the 5-HT1 receptors. These receptors showing the inhibitory potential, and these receptors having the GIGO type of the coupler protein, and they functions through the decreasing intracellular concentration of CMP. Whereas the second family, that is the 5-HT2 receptors, having the excitatory potential, has GQ type of the coupler protein, and they functions through increasing the intracellular concentration of inositol triphosphate and diacylglycerol. Whereas the third family, that is the 5-HT3 receptors, showing the excitatory potential, has the ligand-gated sodium potassium channel, and they functions through depolarization of the cell plasma membrane. Then the fourth family of the receptor, that is the 5-HT4 receptor, they are having the excitatory potential, and they has the GS type of the coupler protein, and they functions through increasing the intracellular concentration of CMP. Then the fifth family of serotonergic receptor is the 5-HT5 receptors, having the inhibitory potential, has GIGO type of the coupler protein, and they functions through decreasing the intracellular concentration of CMP. Then the sixth family is the 5-HT6 receptors, having the excitatory potential, has GS type of the coupler protein, and they functions through increasing the intracellular concentration of CMP. Then the seventh type of the family is the 5-HT7. They are showing the excitatory potential and has the GS type of the coupler protein, and they functions through increasing the intracellular concentration of CMP. So this is how the 7 families of serotonergic receptors are classified and differentiated on the basis of their potential, type of the coupler protein and the mechanism served by them. Now, after the discussion about different families of serotonergic receptors, let us discuss in detail about the subtypes of serotonergic receptors with respect to their coupler G protein, effector pathways, anatomical distribution, location, and the effects. To understand all these systematically, please focus on this table with the help of which we can easily understand all these things systematically. The first family of serotonergic receptor is the 5-HT1 receptors, and it is having the 5 subtypes. Let us discuss its a first subtype, that is the 5-HT1A. The 5-HT1A subtype of receptor having the GI type of the G coupler protein, and it functions through decreasing the intracellular concentration of CMP. It is mainly located at raffinuclei and hippocampus. It affects and regulates the sleep, feeding, and anxiety. Then the second subtype of the 5-HT1 receptor is the 5-HT1B. It is having the GI type of the G coupler protein, and it functions through decreasing the intracellular concentration of CMP. It is located at substantia nigra, globus pallidus, and the basal ganglia. It affects and regulates the neuronal inhibition and behavioral changes. Then the third subtype of the 5-HT1 receptor is the 5-HT1D type of receptor, having the GI type of the G coupler protein, and it functions through decreasing the intracellular concentration of CMP. It is located at brain, and it affects and regulates the vasoconstriction. Then the fourth subtype of the 5-HT1 type of the receptor is the 5-HT1E. It is having the GI type of the G coupler protein, and it functions through decreasing the intracellular CAMP concentration. It is located at the cortex and hippocampus. It affects and regulates the memory. Then the fifth type of the 5-HT1 receptor is the 5-HT1F type of the receptor. It is having the GI type of the G coupler protein, and it functions through decreasing the CAMP concentration at the intracellular level, and it is located at the globus pallidus and the putamen, and it functions and regulates the anxiety and vasoconstriction. Then the second family of serotonergic receptor is 5-HT2, having 3 subtypes. The first subtype of this family is 5-HT2A, having the GQ type of the G coupler protein, and it functions through increasing the intracellular concentration of inositol triphosphate, and it is located at platelet and cerebral cortex. It located at the platelet and cerebral cortex. Also, it regulates and affects the cellular excitation and muscle contraction. Then the second subtype of second family of serotonergic receptor is the 5-HT2B, having the GQ type of the G coupler protein, and it functions through increasing the intracellular concentration of inositol triphosphate. It is located at stomach, and it affects and regulates the appetite. Then the third subtype of second family of serotonergic receptor is the 5-HT2C, having the GQ type of the G coupler protein, It functions through increasing the intracellular concentration of inositol triphosphate. It is located at hippocampus and substantia nigra. It affects and regulates the anxiety. Then the third family of serotonergic receptor is the 5-HT3 type of the receptor, which functions through ligand-gated sodium potassium cation channel, and it located at area proxima and enteric nerves. It affects and regulates the physiology of vomiting. Then the fourth family of serotonergic receptor is the 5-HT4, which is having the GS type of the G coupler protein. It functions through increasing the intracellular concentration of CAMP, and it is located at cortex and smooth muscle. It affects and regulates the gut motility. Then the fifth family of serotonergic receptor, that is 5-HT5, having its two subtypes, that is the 5-HT5A and the 5-HT5B, having the GI type of the G coupler protein and functions through decreasing the intracellular concentration of CMP. It is mainly located at brain, and it affects and regulates the locomotion and the sleep. Then the sixth family of serotonergic receptor is 5-HT6, having the GS type of the G coupler protein and functions through increasing the intracellular concentration of CAMP. It is mainly located at brain, and it affects and regulates the cognition and the learning. Friends, though we already discussed synthesis, storage, release and uptake of 5-hydroxytryptamine in part 1 of this chapter. Now, for more understanding, let us summarize and revise all together with the help of this simple and well-labeled diagram. Please focus on this diagram. Friends, as we know, the tryptophan which we are taking from dietary supplement is a precursor for biosynthesis of 5-hydroxytryptamine. Through this precursor, synthesis of 5-hydroxytryptamine takes place at presynaptic site. Then this 5-hydroxytryptamine is stored in the presynaptic vesicle. Also, the uptake takes place by active amine pump, that is serotonin transporter, which is a type of monoamine transporter pump. Also, here we can say vesicular monoamine transporter, that is denoted as VMAT2. It transports the 5-hydroxytryptamine from cytoplasm to the interior of the storage vesicle. Then, due to the neuronal impulse conduction, the coupled release of 5-hydroxytryptamine takes place by the process of exocytosis. So all the vesicular content including 5-hydroxytryptamine are poured out. Then this released 5-hydroxytryptamine then acts on the postsynaptic receptor responsible for the postsynaptic activity that depends on the type of receptor it gets bind. But in parallel to this, the release of 5-hydroxytryptamine, the process for its uptake takes place to optimize the release of serotonin and to terminate its action at postsynaptic site. Here, the uptake takes place through plasma membrane serotonin transporter. It is an active amine pump located presynaptically on serotonergic axon terminal that transports serotonin from synaptic cleft back to the presynaptic neurons. It is believed that this pump serves as an index of serotonergic innervation. This pump is blocked by the selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors which we are using to treat the depression. Now, after this much detailed discussion about serotonergic receptors, a question arises in our mind: why the knowledge of possible subtypes of 5-hydroxytryptamine receptors is very important. Wait a while and think. It is very important because due to the three reasons. Number one, to develop the new therapeutically useful drugs. Number two, to classify new entity or the new molecule as per its mode of action and or its specificity for the therapy. And number three, to find out the selectivity of drug, either selective agonist and antagonist with its affinity to receptors. That's why the knowledge of possible subtypes of 5-hydroxytryptamine receptors is very important. So, due to all these three importance of serotonergic receptors, let us more refine our knowledge about the 5-hydroxytryptamine receptors. Actually, there are the 7 types of 5-hydroxytryptamine receptors. They are the 5-HT1, 5-HT2, 5-HT3, 5-HT4, 5-HT5, 5-HT6 and the 5-HT7. And all are the G protein coupled receptors except the 5-HT3 receptor, which is a ligand gated cation channel. So let us discuss these receptors one by one to more refine our knowledge. The first one is the 5-HT1 receptors. It occurs mainly in central nervous system. Actually, all the types of 5-HT1 receptors. But a kind of 5-HT1 receptor, that is the 5-HT1D receptor, is present in some of the blood vessels. The 5-HT1 receptors effects and mediates through inhibition of adenylate cyclase are neural inhibition and vasoconstriction. Then, if you talk about the specific agonist of 5-HT1 receptor, it includes sumatriptan, which is used in the therapy of migraine, and buspirone, which is used in the therapy of the anxiety. Then the ergotamine is a partial agonist of the 5-HT1 receptor. Then the specific antagonist of the 5-HT1 receptor includes spipiron and the methotripsine. Then the second serotonergic receptor is the 5-HT2 receptors. These receptors occurs in CNS and many peripheral sites, especially blood vessels, platelets, autonomic neurons. Neuronal and smooth muscle effects are excitatory. Then some blood vessels get dilated as a result of nitric oxide release from the endothelial cells. Then these 5-HT2 receptors act through the phospholipase C inositol triphosphate pathways. The specific ligands include the lysergic acid diethylamide, that is denoted as a LSD. The LSD, that is lysergic acid diethylamide, acts as agonist in CNS and acts as antagonist in the periphery. Then the specific specific antagonist of 5-HT2 receptor includes the ketaserine, methisergide, and the cyproheptadine. Then the third serotonergic receptor is the 5-HT3 receptors. These 5-HT3 receptors occurs in the peripheral nervous system, especially nociceptive afferent neurons, enteric neurons, and in the central nervous system. The 5-HT3 receptors shows the excitatory effects and mediates through direct receptor coupled ion channels. The specific agonist of 5-HT3 receptor is the 2-methyl-5-hydroxytryptamine. The specific antagonist of 5-HT3 receptor includes ondansetron and tropisetron. The antagonists of 5-HT3 receptors are mainly used as anti-emetic drugs, but they may also be used as anxiolytics. Then the fourth type of serotonergic receptors is the 5-HT4 receptors. These 5-HT4 receptors occurs mainly in the enteric nervous system, also in the central nervous system. It shows the excitatory effects through the stimulation of adenylate cyclase causing increased gastrointestinal motility. The specific agonist of 5-HT4 receptors include metoclopramide, which is used to stimulate the gastric emptying. On the other hand, the little is known so far about the function and the pharmacology of 5-HT5, 5-HT6 and the 5-HT7 receptors. So, finally we can get deep knowledge about serotonergic receptors and its subtypes with respect to their location, main effects, secondary messenger, agonist and antagonist by the help of this table. So please focus on this table to get more refined knowledge about the serotonergic receptors. Friends, already we discussed a lot about the 5-hydroxytryptamine receptors. Still I am sharing this table to get some more. Let us start with the first receptor, that is the 5-HT1A. It is located at the CNS and it is mainly involved in the effects like neuronal inhibition, behavioral effects, sleep, feeding, thermoregulation and the anxiety. The secondary messenger of 5-HT1A receptor is CAMP and it functions through the decreasing in the intracellular concentration of CAMP. The agonist involved in this 5-HT1A receptor is 5-CT, that is the 5-carboxamidotryptamine, and the 8-OHDPAT, that is the 8-hydroxy 2-di and propylaminotriptyline, and the buspirone, that is the partial agonist. And the antagonist of this receptor is spironolactone and methotripsine and the ergotamine. Then the second receptor is the 5-HT1B receptor. This receptor mainly located at the central nervous system vascular smooth muscle. It is involved mainly in the effects like presynaptic inhibition, behavioral effects, pulmonary vasoconstriction. The secondary messenger of 5-HT1B receptor is CAMP. It functions through decreasing the intracellular concentration of CAMP. The agonist of 5-HT1B receptor is 5-CT, that is the 5-carboxamidotryptamine and the ergotamine, which is a partial agonist. and the antagonist of this receptor is methotrexate. Then the third receptor is the 5-HT1D receptor. It is mainly located at the central nervous system and the blood vessels. It is mainly involved in the main effects like cerebral vasoconstriction and behavioral effects and the locomotion. The secondary messenger of 5-HT1D receptor is CMP, and this receptor 5-HT1D functions through decreasing the intracellular concentration of CMP. The agonist of this receptor is again the 5-CT, that is the 5-carboxamidotryptamine and the sumatriptan, and the antagonist is methotrexate and ergotamine. Then the fourth receptor is the 5-HT2A receptor. It is mainly located at the central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, smooth muscle and the platelet. It is mainly involved in the effects like neuronal excitation, behavioral effects, smooth muscle contraction mainly in the gut and the bronchi, platelet aggregation, vasoconstriction and vasodilation. The secondary messenger of 5-HT2A receptor is inositol triphosphate and diacylglycerol. 5-HT2A receptor mainly functions through increase in the concentration of the inositol triphosphate and diacylglycerol. The agonist of this receptor is alpha methyl 5-hydroxytryptamine and the lysergic acid diethylamide. Both acts as an agonist in the CNS, but the lysergic acid diethylamide acts as an agonist at the periphery. And the antagonist of 5-HT2A receptor is ketoserine, cyproheptadine and methysergide, whereas the pizotifen is non-selective. Then the fifth type of receptor is 5-HT2B receptor. It is mainly located at the gastric fundus. It is mainly involved in the function like contraction. The secondary messenger of this receptor is inositol triphosphate and the diacylglycerol. It functions through increasing the intracellular concentration of inositol triphosphate and diacylglycerol. The agonist of this receptor is alpha methyl 5-hydroxytryptamine. Then the sixth receptor is the 5-HT2C receptor. It is mainly located at the central nervous system and the choroid plexus. It is mainly involved in the functions like cerebrospinal fluid secretion. Its secondary messenger is inositol triphosphate and diacylglycerol. Its function is subserved through increasing the intracellular concentration of the inositol triphosphate and diacylglycerol. The agonist of this receptor is 5-methyl alpha methyl 5-hydroxytryptamine and the lysergic acid diethylamide, and the antagonist is unknown. Then the next receptor is the seventh receptor, that is the 5-HT3 receptor. It is mainly located at the peripheral nervous system and the central nervous system. It is involved in the functions like neuronal excitation at the autonomic nociceptive neurons, emesis, behavioral effects, and the anxiety. It is the non-ligand gated cation channel. The agonist of this receptor is 2-methyl 5-hydroxytryptamine and the next is chlorophenylbiguanide, and the antagonist is ondansetron, tropisetron and granisetron. Then the eighth receptor is the 5-HT4 receptor. It is located at the peripheral nervous system at the gastrointestinal tract and the central nervous system. It is mainly involved in the functions like neuronal excitation and gastrointestinal motility. The secondary messenger of 5-HT4 receptor is CMP. The 5-HT4 receptor functions through increasing the concentration, that is the intracellular concentration of the CMP. The agonist of 5-HT4 receptor is 5-methoxytryptamine, metoclopramide and tegaseroid. And the antagonist of 5-HT4 receptor is various experimental compounds, for example GR113808 and the SV207266. Then the ninth receptor is the 5-HT5 receptor. It is mainly located in the central nervous system. It is mainly involved in the effects like locomotion and sleep. The secondary messenger of 5-HT5 receptor is CMP. This receptor mainly functions through decreasing the intracellular concentration of CMP, and its agonist and antagonist are not known. Then the next 10th receptor is the 5-HT6 receptor. It is located in the CNS and it is mainly involved in the function like cognition and learning. Its secondary messenger is CMP and it functions through increase in the intracellular concentration of CMP, and its agonist and antagonist is still not known. Then the 11th receptor is the 5-HT7 receptor. It is mainly located in the central nervous system, gastrointestinal tract, blood vessel, and its main effect still not known, but its secondary messenger is CMP and it functions through increase in the intracellular concentration of CMP. Its agonist is the CT, that is the 5-CT, also called as the 5-carboxymidotriptamide, and the LSD, that is the lysergic acid diethylamide, and non-selective agonist. So LSD is non-selective agonist. And the antagonists are various 5-HT2 antagonists, no selective antagonist still known. So this is how the 5-HT receptor and their subtypes are differentiated on the basis of their location, main effects, secondary messenger, agonist and antagonists. Now, let us discuss the physiological effects of serotonin both peripherally as well as centrally. The recent studies and findings revealed that tryptophan hydroxylase exists in two isoforms with different locations within the body of mammals. Tryptophan hydroxylase type 1, denoted as TPH1, is responsible for the synthesis of the peripheral serotonin, while the tryptophan hydroxylase type 2, denoted as TPH2, is the predominant isoform in the brain, or also called as in the CNS. The tryptophan, which is a precursor of the serotonin, when at the peripheral site, that is the enterochromaffin cells of the gastrointestinal tract, this tryptophan hydroxylase type 1 is present, which is responsible for the synthesis of peripheral serotonin from the tryptophan. And this peripheral serotonin has the peripheral effects on the vascular tone, hemostasis, cell regeneration, heart functions, organ development, and the intestinal motility. Then Whereas on the another hand, at central site, that is the serotonergic neurons of CNS, the tryptophan hydroxylase type 2 is present, which is responsible for the synthesis of central serotonin by the precursor tryptophan. This central serotonin has the central effects on depression, sleep and migraine, aggression, food intake, psychosis, and the anxiety. So this is how the two types of the isoform of tryptophan hydroxylase type 1 and type 2 present at the different locations, and at these two different locations they helps in the formation of serotonin, and at these two different locations the serotonin plays the different role. They shows the peripheral effects and the central effects. Now, let us summarize about the different physiological effects of serotonin through different serotonergic receptors with the help of this simple diagram. So please focus on this diagram. This released serotonin regulates the physiological functions through many of its serotonergic receptors. The physiological function of this serotonin through these serotonergic receptor depends on the site and location of these receptors. Through 5-HT1A receptor, it is responsible for depression, anxiety, sexual behavior, and the nociception. And through the 5-HT5A and B, 5-HT6, and through the 5-HT7, it is responsible for food intake, cognition, thermoregulation, depression, nociception, and vasomotricity. And through the 5-HT4 receptor, it is responsible for food intake, gastrointestinal motility. But clinically, the cognition is not known. Then, through the 5-HT3A and B, it is responsible for nausea, emesis, gastrointestinal motility, and the nociception, whereas the nociception at the periphery level. Then through the 5-HT2C receptor, it is responsible for food intake, anxiety, depression, and the sexual behavior. Then through the 5-HT2B receptor, it is responsible for smooth muscles in the gastrointestinal tract. Here it regulates the contraction and the relaxation of smooth muscle of the gastrointestinal tract. But the long-term effect of serotonin on 5-HT2B receptor is responsible for migraine. Then through the 5-HT2A receptor, the serotonin is responsible for schizophrenia, vasomotricity, sleep and awakefulness, and the nociception at the periphery level. Then through the 5-HT1B receptor and the 5-HT1D receptor, it is responsible for vasomotricity and nociception. Both of these, vasomotricity and nociception, is responsible for migraine, and through both of these receptors, it is responsible for food intake. So this was the summary of physiological function of serotonin through these receptors which are present at the different locations. Thus, for what physiological functions this serotonin is responsible? In short, this serotonin involves in the control of body temperature. The serotonin regulates the major activity and perceptive and cognitive functions. Serotonin balances appetite. Serotonin also intervenes with the dopamine and noradrenaline. Serotonin maintains and equilibrates the sexual desire. Serotonin also manages our sleep awake cycle. Please note this point. This serotonin manages our sleep wake cycle. Then the serotonin is the main precursor for the biosynthesis of melatonin that helps to regulate the sleep. And so many physiology is there through which our sleep wake cycle regulated. One of them is through the melatonin. So how this melatonin get biosynthesized, let us discuss here. So as we know, this serotonin produces melatonin that helps to regulate the sleep. Actually, what happens? This tryptophan in presence of magnesium, calcium, vitamin B6, folic acid and iron get transformed into the 5-hydroxytryptophan. Then this 5-hydroxytryptophan so formed in presence of vitamin B6, zinc, magnesium and vitamin C get converted into the serotonin or the 5-hydroxytryptamine. This serotonin in the dark get converted to the melatonin. So this was the synthesis of antidepressant serotonin and melatonin from the key substance, that is the tryptophan. Now let us discuss in detail about the biosynthesis of melatonin, that is also called as darkness hormone. In terms of chemistry, the melatonin is an acetyl 5-hydroxytryptamine which is synthesized within the pinealocytes, means by the pineal gland, from tryptophan. This mostly occurs during the dark phase of the day when there is a major increase in the activity of serotonin and acetyltransferase, also called as aryl alkylamine and acetyltransferase, denoted as AA and AT, which is responsible for the transformation of 5-hydroxytryptamine, that is the serotonin, to an acetylserotonin, denoted as NAS. Then what happens? This N-acetylserotonin finally converted to melatonin by the action of acetylserotonin O-methyltransferase, which is denoted as ASMT. So through this stepwise reaction, melatonin is biosynthesized. Then let us discuss some facts about melatonin and the enzymes involved in its synthesis and its correlation with norepinephrine with respect to serotonin rhythm. The rapid decline in the synthesis with light treatment at night appears to depend on proteasomal proteolysis. Both AANAT, that is the aryl alkylamine and acetyl transferase, and serotonin availability plays a role limiting melatonin production. Also, the aryl alkylamine and acetyl transferase mRNA is expressed mainly in the pineal gland, retina, and to lesser extent in some other brain areas, pituitary and testis. Then this aryl alkylamine and acetyl transferase activation is triggered by the activation of beta 1 and alpha 1 adrenergic receptors by the norepinephrine. This norepinephrine is the major transmitter via beta 1 adrenoceptor with potentiation by alpha 1 stimulation. This norepinephrine levels are higher at night, approximately 180 degrees out of phase with the serotonin rhythm. Finally, both availability of norepinephrine and serotonin are stimulatory for the biosynthesis of melatonin. Pathological or traumatic sympathetic denervation of the pineal gland or the administration of beta adrenergic antagonists abolishes the rhythmic synthesis of melatonin and light dark control of the melatonin production. Actually, what happens at the daytime with the help of vitamin D, the production or the biosynthesis of serotonin is there from the nucleus of raphe, and this serotonin is responsible for awaking. But at the night time or in dark phase, by the pineal gland or by the pinealocytes, there is the production of melatonin from the serotonin. This melatonin is responsible for the sleep. So, this is how the sleep and awake cycle is regulated by both serotonin and melatonin. Now, let us discuss some aspects of melatonin synthesis. The rhythm of melatonin production is internally generated and controlled by interacting networks of clock genes in the bilateral suprachiasmatic nucleus. But due to the damage to this suprachiasmatic nucleus leads to a loss of the majority of circadian rhythms. This suprachiasmatic nucleus rhythm is synchronized to 24 hours, mainly by light-dark cycle acting via retina and retinohypothalamic projection towards this suprachiasmatic nucleus, such that longer the night, the longer the duration of secretion is, and the ocular light serves to synchronize the rhythm to 24 hours and to suppress the secretion at the end of the dark phase as explained above. But light exposure is the most important factor related to pineal gland function and melatonin secretion. Now, a question arises in our mind how the control of melatonin synthesis takes place. This control of melatonin synthesis takes place by a closed loop to the pineal retina suprachiasmatic nucleus system. Actually, what happens? Melatonin functions as a paracrine signal within the retina. It enhances retinal function in low intensity light by inducing photomechanical changes and provides a closed loop to the pineal retina suprachiasmatic nucleus system. So, altogether, they are the basic structures to perceive and transduce non-visual effects of light and to generate the melatonin rhythm via closed loop negative feedback. Now, let us discuss how various conditions of light regulate the increase and decrease of the level of melatonin, which is responsible for sleep-wake cycle. As we know, this melatonin is a hormone which promotes falling asleep. Effect of light or the brightness plays an important role in biological body. When the day arises, specialized cells, ganglion area in the retina are activated by the light source and send a information to the pineal gland. It blocks the production of melatonin and promotes the secretion of serotonin. This is the physiology of awake. Then, if you will talk about the melatonin sleep, what happens at night? The ganglion recognize the brightness and transfer this information to the pineal gland that the increase in the level of melatonin in the blood and prepares our bodies to falling asleep. But another condition, if there is a lack of light in autumn season and winter, what happens when the exterior luminosity weakens? It happens that the cell's lymph node do not perceive not the day as risen. The melatonin level in the blood remain high, which explains unusual fatigue seasonal during the day. Then, if there is a light intake, intentionally if you will take the light, means by exposing the eyes to the light without infrared or ultraviolet, it is possible to compensate for the lack of external brightness and block the production of melatonin in order to promote the secretion of serotonin, called as the hormone of happiness. So this is how the various conditions of light, either darkness or the brightness, is due to the day and night cycle or maybe due to the seasonal, like in autumn and winter there is a decrease in the intensity of light. It responsible for the increase and decrease of the level of melatonin, which is responsible for the alteration in the sleep wake cycle. So that's all for the day. We will continue the same topic 5-hydroxytryptamine and their antagonists in its third part. Till then, revise the topic from the book. Have a nice day and thank you.